Hello and welcome to my very last show for the Edinburgh Fringe with PBH Fringe. Free Fringe? I would have thought I've got it right by now, but it's been a blur the last few weeks. Anyway, this one is titled Tales of Tainted Mart Conspiracy. Now, the conspiracy and the line that I'm taking it from, if you've been watching all the others, then the whole concept within Tales of Tainted Mart is that I'm taking passages from the negative confession and the maxims of Amenhotep and a few other ones as well, all to do with the concept of Mart and having a pure soul in which to enter heaven. So this particular line is, I have not worked witchcraft against the king. Now, for that line, there's only one option I can go for, and that is the harem conspiracy of Ramesses II. It's one papyrus, luckily found, detailing the attempted assassination of Ramesses II by his entire court. It's a really amazing piece of recording. So I've done a slight dramatization of this, and I'll give you a bit more detail about some of the historical aspects of this at the end, for those that really want to know a bit more. It's night, and the oil lamps flicker upon the two figures alone in her private chambers of the second queen, Tia. With her is her trusted confidant and head of the harem, Peb Ammon. Peb Ammon watches his queen intently, but he's not prepared for the words that she will exclaim. Pharaoh must die. His shock is clear to her. Pharaoh must die, and my son Pentaware shall take the throne. Peb Ammon gathers from his shock as much as he can. Surely you don't mean that, Tia? Isn't it Taiti's son, Hekamatray, is heir to the throne? He is the firstborn of Pharaoh, and it is his throne. It is correct, she purrs. He is the selected son of Pharaoh. In his bloodline, though, must end. The gods have forsaken this Pharaoh, his bloodline, and of Egypt. I believe we need a new dynasty, one to restore the power of Egypt, one who can take decisive action. Peb Ammon contemplates these words. I see now. I agree. The wars with the sea people have been a drain on the treasury, and I hear there's little left, in fact. Also, I hear there's news of workers not being paid. It's that bad. And there's been riots too. A revolt is certain, and one you could definitely benefit from, Tia. She leans back in a gilded chair. Good, good, she purrs. I am happy to see someone agrees with me, and I have a plan. Peb Ammon is not entirely prepared for that kind of reply. She has clearly thought about this a lot. His eyebrows raise in a question, unspoken. Tia leans to the side to her chair and starts to rummage around in the box beside it. She extracts 2 wax dolls. This is my plan. Let's say a wise woman I met some weeks ago told me how to use them to bring about my wishes and exert my power over others. It was quite strange how she came past me. I caught her in the washer rooms while taking out some of the dresses of mine. Not someone I'd seen before, but she was certainly forthcoming. Pepperman's brows raise even higher. Witchcraft against the king, he says. The price you'll pay with oblivion and no afterlife, should you find this. In fact, even just performing this is against Mart. Tia sighs. Much the same as this life without my son on the throne. Here, I have a few already set to incapacitate the guards and the Pharaoh for when the time is right. She extracts a few more dolls, some dressed with guard uniforms. This is madness, Pepperman says. But what do you want me to do as part of this? I have yet to decide whether I truly want to be committed to this. Tia replaces the dolls into the chest. Well, Pepperman, you have a privileged place in the harem. You can go wherever you want without question. I don't have that luxury. Therefore, I need you to find other sympathetic to my cause. Specifically, I need other wives of the harem to sway the minds against Tainted. I need her to feel completely alone. Some days later, when all is quiet, and specifically, got it right that time, Tainted has retired from the harem. Does Pepperman make his move? He approaches the first group and converses long with them for some hours, sowing dissent against the Queen and the Pharaoh. So, are you with us? One of the minor wives is hesitant. All of them are hesitant, but one finally speaks up. Yes, I think I can speak for many of us here. They all nod slowly in agreement. Tainted is not popular in the harem. She is Pharaoh's favourite and treats us like slaves, but we are wives of Pharaoh too, and that is not right. We are from respected families. We are not mere public peasants. If we can have guarantees that we will come out of this for the better off, and with her gone, we are with you. They all shake their heads, nod their heads in agreement. Pepperman smiles. This is good news. Tia wants you to have these. And from his bag, He pulls out a number of these max dolls of the guards. Take one each. Find someone of a high rank, a judge, an army commander. Seduce them, convince them. And taking something of theirs, such as hair, nails, personal item of any kind, something small that won't be missed, bind it to that doll. And from there, we will control them when the time is right. And should they be a threat to our plans, we can incapacitate them. The ladies take these dolls, hold them as if they were a live snake. It's clearly they're nervous and glance at each other with a little slight hint of terror. They all well know what this means should they be found, and to perform magic against Pharaoh. This is seriously bad, but the stakes are high and the rewards are high too. In another part of the palace, Queen Tainted paces her chamber. She bites on her fingers. Nerves, something definitely on her mind. And then suddenly stopping, she strides rapidly towards one of the chests on the side of against one of the walls. She lifts it, throws it open, and looks inside the chest. Lifting out a wax doll of her own, dressed as Pharaoh. The head is cracked, and as she lifts it further away, the head drops. As I thought. She looks around to ensure she is definitely alone. It has begun. She places the broken doll back into the chest and gently closes the lid. Guard, guard, here. A guard enters the room. Yes, Your Highness. She strides towards him, confident, all agitation gone. Now she has her mind set on an action. Have all the guards been for Pharaoh, around Pharaoh, been vouched for? Are they good, loyal men to your Pharaoh? The guard is quite taken aback by this kind of question. Yes, 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 Your Highness. They are all fine men. Good, good. She turns towards the chest. Be prepared. I feel there may be an attempt on the life of Pharaoh soon. The guard gasps and hurries away. Some days pass, and again, night draws in. And alone again, Tia and Pebamen are alone in her chamber, with just the glow of the oil lamp. Their voices hushed. Both very nervous, eyes dancing everywhere at the slightest sound. Tia breaks the silence. We are ready, she whispers. It is time. Pepperman shifts uneasily in his chair. What are you going to do, Tia? Tia lounges back, smiles. Just watch, just watch. She opens the chest beside her and takes out a doll of the Pharaoh and some of the guards. Holding them in the crook of her arm, she takes a cord from her waist and begins to wind it around the dolls, and releasing them, ties a knot for the bundle, and then she drops it back into the chest. Pepperman looks confused at this and just stares continually at what Tia does. When she turns her head to look across the room into the shadows, the darkness beside the windows, he is confused at that action. But very shortly, the shadows begin to move. Tia gives a slight wave, and the shadows move quicker and detach themselves from the wall. Pepperman can barely see through this gloom. There's a sudden glint of light off of some metal, and he now realizes what this is. Tia turns her gaze back to Pepperman. The assassin can now do his deed. It won't take long, and we will know soon one way or the other. The shadow exits the room, hugging the wall silently, and the silence resumes within this chamber as Tia and Pepperman continue their silent accompaniment. It feels hours have gone by, but it's still not daylight yet. Both are anxious, wringing their hands, checking their clothing, anything to kill it this idle time. And then there's a noise, shouting, screaming, clashing of metal. Both of them look alarmed and grip tightly the arms of their chairs, straining their ears to catch any sound that might be valuable. Pepperman is anxious. It has gone wrong. I feel it. Quiet, you fool, Tia snaps back. Let us go and look. And with confidence of a job well done, Tia heads to the door. Pepperman follows reluctantly behind her And entering the corridor, shadows cast by torches and lamps fill the room corridor with shadows. Again, there's some noises ahead of shouting, of running. And around the corner comes the assassin that Tia had let loose, followed closely by a group of guards. They're heading straight for Tia and Pepemen. Tia is alarmed. Her plans could be exposed. Do something. She elbows Pepemen and darts behind him. Pepemen slides a knife into his palm as the assassin nears. The assassin is slowing down, with the guards very close. And as the assassin reaches them and begins to open his mouth to say something, Pepemen stabs him and drops the assassin dead to the floor. As both of them look down upon the dead form, blood covering the hands of Pepemen, the guards draw up and surround them. He looks up at the guards, who are hot and with a sour and dark expression on their face, eager for a kill. Look, look, I have stopped this assassin. The crowds begin to form around this body. And the guards look between the assassin, Pepemen, and Tia. They don't say a word. But there's a voice behind them. And stepping out from behind the guards, it is Queen Tainted. She looks at the body and then back at Pepemen. What makes you think he was an assassin? Pepemen gobs. Arrest them both for the attempted assassination of Pharaoh. Screams ride the air. They have done for days now. And Pharaoh, Ramesses II, sits upon his throne at the palace court. Many courtiers line the walls and gaze upon these two people kneeling in front of Pharaoh. Both Pepemen and Tia kneel heads down. They are dirty and a little bruised. And they are silent. Pharaoh looks down at disgust at Pepemen. Pepemen, you are a trusted official. Treason against Pharaoh and by definition Egypt can only result in one thing, your death. Additionally, for the use of witchcraft against me, you have committed offence against Mud and therefore you will be burnt to death. There will be no burial. There will be no body. There will be no afterlife. You shall be removed from history. Pepemen falls flat on his face. Oh, please, please, Pharaoh, have mercy. It was Tia who corrupted me. Tia says no, not a word. But Pharaoh is not swayed. His time for mercy is long gone. Guards, take him away. Now, Tia, you and your son, Pentaware, are of the royal household. But you I trusted, and you will likewise have a similar fate. There will be no afterlife for you, for this evil, and for all those you have condemned to death before you. Because you are a royal household, I will allow you to take your own life with poison. Seek forgiveness before you die. For this is both before you and your son. Guards, bring her son. Tia's young son, Pentaware, is dragged in, bound and bruised and dirty like his mother, and is placed in a kneeling position beside her. Queen Tainted, standing beside her Pharaoh husband, places a hand upon his arm. I have the poison here, my Pharaoh. And he nods to her, and she approaches both of them. Kneeling beside Pentaware, she pulls back his head and tips some of the poison into his mouth. He begins to gasp and then falls silently to the floor. Moving beside Tia, she moves close. Close enough to whisper that none shall hear. Safe journey to oblivion, Tainted whispers into Tia's ear. I have taught you well on how to use those dolls, didn't I? But not everything. And with that, Tainted pulls Tia's head back and pours in the poison. Those words eventually sink in to Tia, and she looks at horror at Taitid's grinning face. Tainted whispers once more, thank you for the diversion. Your deaths will result too in the death of Pharaoh. For Pharaoh's throat I will cut by my own hand tonight, and my son will no longer have to wait for the throne. But you shall be already gone. Tia begins to gasp for air, unable to reply to Taitid's words. Tainted stands with a grin and faces her Pharaoh. Pharaoh's verdict of death has been enacted. Long live Pharaoh. Thank you for that one. Hope you enjoyed that one. Now, when I originally wrote this, a couple of months later, I attended a lecture by Aidan Dodson about Ramesses II, and I asked him about the death. There was two schools of thought on this. At some point, the reports are a little bit weird in that the body of Ramesses II was found with his throat cut, but the court papyrus for this trial says the court was created by Ramesses II. So the controversy there is, did the assassination succeed, and was the court raised in his name by his son, or did Pharaoh survive an assassination attempt, find out this conspiracy, then was later then killed at some point? Now, Aidan said that perhaps, in fact, the assassination was successful and the court was raised in his name because the son had not become Pharaoh. So obviously the court was in the name, was Pharaoh Ramesses II's court. So it was therefore in his name. As to where, I recall him saying Pharaoh actually possibly was assassinated while on tour of Medinet Habu temple and in the pylons is where he died. So I was going to change the story, but it's a story. And it seemed much more fun to actually have a twist at the end and that his queen was actually going to assassinate him instead. But there you go. Thanks for coming along, and until next time, whenever that is. Bye-bye.